Hello, folks. Welcome to today's football predictions on Betcast. Another very beautiful day, beautiful Friday morning, and once again, we back with our predictions. As usual, we always look at football matches going on across the globe, and we select a few of these matches and look into them, looking into the previous games that they had at recent times, and using those data that we have on our hand, we always come up with the best possible value for each of these matches. That's what we do, and is that what we're going to do in a short while? All right. Also, remember to join our VIP channel. What we do, we'll be traveling that very community, our membership. All right, try to join our membership so that you get access to games that we believe to be. Those games are quite better than the ones we put out here. They're quite, more certain in terms of coming up correctly. All right, don't endeavor to join. You always find the join button around this video, or when you look at the description of this very video, you'll always find a link that will give you access to our VIP channel membership. All right, that being said, without further ado, we head to today's football predictions, and we'll start with the first game. It is in Denmark in the Danish Super League, where we have Vborg who will be facing FC Copenhagen. Okay, when you take a look at the stats for each of these teams, we could see that Vborg in recent times have been able to win 2 matches out of the last 6 games that they had. They've had a draw, but have lost 3 matches out of those. And now Copenhagen, on the other hand, have won 4 matches out of the last 6 games that they had so far, and they also had 2 draws and have not lost a single match in the last 6 games that they had so far. All right, when you look at how the two teams fared from home and away basis, and you can see that Vborg play from home. The last 10 home matches have I've seen them winning 6 games and a draw. They've also lost 3 matches out of the last 10 home matches that they have so far. And the away side at Copenhagen have won 5 games and 2 draws, losing 3 matches as well in the last 10 away matches that they have so far. And the last home game for Vborg, which will happen against Valley, also them losing out to Valley by 1-0 on that very occasion. And meanwhile, the last Liga away match for Copenhagen was sort of beating the likes of Randers by 4-0 on that very occasion. So we look at how these two teams fared on head-to-head basis. The last time both teams met, it was Copenhagen who actually won against Vborg on that very occasion. That was in May of this year by 1-0. That was the last meeting between two sides. Prior to that, we also saw Copenhagen beating them once again by 1-0 in the Copa Denmark. All right, the last 2 meetings I've seen Copenhagen winning against this very side, each of them being 1-0, and definitely we expect their away side of Copenhagen, a very top side in the Danish league to do very well here against Vborg. We expect our away side to win out probably in this very one. All right, away win. That's a verdict. And we head to the next for today. It is in Finland, Waikonen League, where we have TPS coming up against Saupa. All right, and we'll start looking at how the two teams fared in recent times. You can see that the home side TPS have won 4 matches out of the last 6 games that they had. They've also had a draw and 1 loss out of the last 6 games that they have so far. And when you look at Saupa, their away side, it is 1 win and 1 draw, and they've lost 4 matches out of the last 6 matches. Not 5 for them at the moment. And looking at how the two teams fared from home and away basis, TPS, the home side have won 8 games in the last 10 matches. They also had a draw, but have lost 1 match out of the last 8 games that they had so far. Or out of the last 10 games that they had so far, so they're winning 80% of the home matches. The home side TPS, and away side South Park, playing from away have not been doing very well. They only managed to win 1 match and a draw, but they've lost 8 matches. You could see the last away game they had against EIF, so they're losing by 4-0 against EIF. And when you look at the TPS, the last home match against Mobi 04, so they're winning by 4-1 rather, that very okay. So that tells you this form that these guys have been at the moment. And the last 4 home games for the home side, so they're winning all 4. And the last meeting between two sides, so TPS beating South of away, that was in May of last year by 2-1. So we definitely expect a home win in this very one, and we expect the home side to win, and yet we're going to see over 1.5 for the home side. So home win and over 1.5. That's our value for that very one. All right, and we head to the next for today. It is the African Women Nations League, African Women Nations Cup, where we have Morocco women coming up against Mali women. All right, for the Morocco women, in the last 6 we've seen them winning 4 matches, and also saw them drawing 1 and losing 1. And Mali, on the other hand, have won 3 games in the last 6 matches, also drawing 1 as well as losing 2 in the last 6 matches that they had so far. All right, Morocco women, we know that they're thriving at the moment. That the football are doing so very well at the moment. All right, when you look at how the two teams are fared in the in the recent games that both teams have had, you could see that Morocco side, the last 3 games have seen them, winning. 2 matches and drawing one. They won against Senegal and also won against DR Congo DR women in the group match. We sort of beating Congo DR by 4 goals to 2 on that occasion, and they won against Senegal by 1 goal to 0. And the other game they had was against Zambia, where they played after 2-2 draw on that very occasion. And Zambia is a very tough side, And for the away side, Mali, we saw them, the last 3 games that they had, which was the group stage, sort of winning against Tanzania 1-0. They drew against Ghana 1-1, and they also had they also were beaten against South Africa by 4 goals to 0 in the last group match for the away side. So on head-to-head basis, the last time they met was last year December. It was Morocco who actually won on that very occasion by 1 goal to 0 once again. And we definitely expect Morocco, the home side, to take the day. Actually, Morocco is hosting this very tournament, and they are quite at home, and we expect a win for the home side here. Home to win. That's our verdict, all right? And we head to the next for today. Another African Women Championship match, between African Women Giants. Nigeria coming up against Zambia, another very, very promising side. All right, when you look at stats for these two sides, you can see that for the Nigeria side, it is 3 wins in the last 6 matches, as well as 2 draws and 1 loss. And Zambia, on the other hand, also have won 3 games, 2 draws, and also 1 loss in the last 6 games that they have so far. All right, when you look at how these two teams fared, you can see that the home side, Nigeria women, have actually won 7 matches out of the last 10 home matches. Also, in this very tournament, they have won 2 games, and they drew the last one again, which was against Algeria, 0-0 draw on that very occasion. And for Zambia, on the other hand, in this very tournament, they actually won 2 games and drew 1. All right, that draw was actually against Morocco, where they had a 2-2 draw, sort of beating the likes of Senegal and Congo DR by 1 goal to 0, and once they got by 3 goals to 2. All right, this side, Zambia side, have been scoring lots of goals, have been doing very well. We see the likes of Barbara Banda, who has been doing very well, and also we saw Kunde Neja, who has also performed, wonderfully well. So the Nigerian side, will pull in, a win here. Who knows about the last time both teams met? It was Zambia who won against Nigeria. That was in 2022, and we saw them beating Nigeria by 1 goal to 0 on that very occasion. All right, and here, actually, who is going to take the day? It's a very difficult one to call, but I'm going with Nigeria to win at the end of the Nigeria to qualify. I'm not saying Nigeria to win at regular time, but I'm actually expecting to see Nigeria to qualify. Playing that as an option, Nigeria to qualify, home side to qualify, whatever means. It could be to penalty, it could be, any other means. But I expect Nigeria to qualify in this one. That's our verdict. All right, that concludes it today for us on Betcraft. All right, the remainder of the tips will be on our VIP special group to endeavor to join, so that you have access to those specs, and we believe those ones are the ones that are likely to come up, 100% correctly. All right, until tomorrow, I wish you the very best of luck. But then, keep winning.